We got some movement here for Friday Night Meta. Excited to break it down for you here today. Thank you for tuning in. As always, down below we have the timestamps for each of the formats. Best of one, best of three, as always, giving you the latest and greatest here in terms of what's happened over the last week, some of the movement and decks and changes, as always. So thank you for tuning in. Let's get into it here for standard best of one. So first off and foremost, you'll actually see Selesnya Enchantments has been moving up. We've seen mono red aggro, mono red burn falling down a little bit. Azor's Control continuing to pick up. Mono blue tempo, a deck we covered this week, again becoming more popular. Golgari midrange getting a little bit better above that 50% where we've seen some of those struggles. Here though on the right, we do continue to see mono red aggro, mono white humans, and Golgari as some of the top played lists, and looking forward to seeing some of these trends down below us as we are now through midway through October, which is crazy. Halloween is almost here. So look at this in terms of what we got going on. We do continue to see that bump in mono white humans in play, similar with that mono blue coming back up. Everything else there kind of going sideways, similar to Golgari midrange as well. And then here you see that compression there in the meta starting to come down in mono white humans. And like I said, we are seeing that rise in Selesnya Enchantments. So that's a big one to pay attention to. Additionally, that 4-color control bouncing around up there. We do see burn coming down. Unfortunately, mono blue tempo kind of coming down, but it is starting to get played a little bit more. Like I said, though, Golgari was under 50%, getting a little bit stronger there as well. And then we still continue to see things like mono black midrange. Now, we've had other decks like Gruul Aggro, Azor's Control as well, like we talked about, popping in there. There it is in terms of play. So you can see how those things continue to shift and change. Let's go ahead and look at Mythic, though. Here at Mythic, a little bit of a different point of view. We are seeing Orzhov Control. So like I said, stuff kind of starting to really move around. So very interesting to see that. Mono white humans, mono red aggro, Azor's Control, Esper Control, mono white control, and Golgari midrange. So very, very important to see a lot of those changes. That is something a little bit different relative to what we've seen, and we'll continue to track that as always week over week. All right, now on to best of three. Best of three right now, we do have 4-color control at the top, not quite by too much though, 0.4% over the top of Azor Soldiers. We got mono white humans in there, Esper Legends, mono red aggro, Bant Control, Esper Control, Golgari midrange here on the right. Really Golgari midrange, 4-color control, really dominating the field. Then we kind of got the next 4 and then the last 2. So as we see what's going on in terms of popularity, again, that Golgari midrange doing well. 4-color control continues to pick up. Mono red falling off there when it came to October. We do continue to see that rise in Azor Soldiers as well. And what's going on in the meta. Now, win rate over time, you can see that Azor Soldiers doing very well. However, just slightly falling back down there to that 4-color control. Everything else here kind of staying same. Golgari doing a little bit better. And then we do see that rise as well here, and you see that dimmer midrange coming back in. So lots of interesting stuff. Let's go ahead and look at Mythic. What do we have here? We do have Azor Soldiers at the top, 4-color control, Esper Legends, mono white humans, Golgari midrange, and mono red. So that is what is going on. And closing out standard for us here, let's go ahead and check out Alchemy. We've had some changes here in Alchemy this week. We got 4-color Legends, mono red aggro, Abs and Pigs, love that, Golgari midrange, mono black midrange, and mono black Nazgul. So mono black falling down significantly here. And then we got mono red aggro, Golgari midrange, 4-color Legends, Nazgul, and midrange. And then here you see that new release coming out this week. Abs and Pigs, I love it. Mono red kind of going back up, and then you do see that Golgari midrange. And then here in terms of win rates, that 4-color Legends doing very well currently in terms of what's happening. Mono red, Abs and Pigs, and then everything else. So that's what we got going on there. Let's see if there is anything at Mythic. Nope, nothing at Mythic. Let's check out best of three. Best of three, we do have Golgari midrange, and that will seal the deal for us there. Only 10% of you though on it, so get in there. All right, so that concludes Alchemy. Historic, what is happening in Historic? We do have Is It Wizards. We've got Esper Affinity in there, mono green elves, Selesnya Squirrel Twin, mono green devotion, Azor's Control, mono red aggro, and Dimmer Mill. Then here on the right, again, you continue to see Is It Wizards, mono green devotion, mono green elves, again, Esper Affinity moving in there, Mill moving in there in terms of a lot more play played here again is at Wizards, and then you can see Devotion and Elves picking up with that drop in Alchemy here, and then additionally here you see is at Wizards. We start to see Esper Affinity falling off a little bit in terms of that win rate, but we do see Mono Green Elves coming up. Is it Belcher's a fun list, one that we've played before. Dimmer Mill, lots of stuff there. Let's go ahead and check out Mythic. Here's what we got going on. Mythic really is at Wizards and Mono Green Devotion. Is it Wizards? Definitely taking it there. So all the way back out. Let's check out best of 3 for Historic. Here we are. We got 4-color Kethis, Is it Wizards, Mono Green Devotion, Dimmer Control, and Rakdos mid-range. Is it Wizards, Mono Green Devotion, really taking it home. And then you can see that popularity there again over time. And then let's go ahead and see if there is anything at Mythic. We do have Mono Green Devotion, so 22% of you. All right. So again, that will continue to improve here as we get to the back half of October. We always just like to check. Let's move to Explorer. So Explorer, we have Boros Convoke and Boros Heroic right now at the top. Selesnya Angels, Mono White Humans, Abzan Greasefang, Mono Red Aggro, Rakdos Sacrifice, Mono Green Devotion right at that 50%. Pretty close kind of in terms of what's going on here in the meta. Let's see what we got going on. Again, lots of things bouncing around here in terms of that popularity, like we said. Azor's Control probably being the one really falling down, similar to Abzan Greasefang. But here again, we see that win rate. Boros Heroic popping up right above that Mono White Humans, and everything else. If we add in that Boros Convoke, there you go. You see that big spike there. Very volatile in terms of some of these things that we'll continue to keep an eye on. But again, kind of downshifting, not as wild up to that 65% that we saw before, but still, again, a little bit more focused on that 57.5%. So let's see what we got in Mythic here. Does that change anything? Nope, not really. We'll go all the way back out. Let's check out best of 3. So best of 3 here, we do have Rakdos midrange, Boros Heroic still, Abzan Greasefang, Rakdos Sacrifice, Mono Green Devotion, Gruul Aggro in there, 5-color Fires, and Mono Black Waste Knot. Here, Mono Green Devotion, Rakdos midrange being the top played. Everything else pretty close. We look at that popularity, again, similar thing here over time. Everything else pretty tight. And then in terms of win rates, it's actually pretty close with a lot of this stuff being very compacted in there. Waste Knot, really a little bit of a ways from the pack. However, we do see that Golgari midrange way down there and coming back in. So lots of things, interestingly enough, to pay attention to. Here we got Mono White Humans, Azorius Lotus Field, Abzan Greasefang, Rakdos midrange. And then here on the right, again, Rakdos midrange being the most popular. Everything else is at 4%. All right, let's pull all the way back out. That's going to conclude our Explorer there. Let's go ahead and check out Historic Brawl. Historic Brawl, we got Ragavan at the top, followed by Roscoe, the first sliver, Troxa, Modi, Talia, Troxa, and Azika. Here again, 1.3% at the bottom, 2.8 at the top. Again, generally used to be roughly around 2 to be in here. So we'll look at some of these shifts and changes here. We do have Itali. We do see Emoti falling off quite a bit in terms of popularity. See the first sliver rising. We see Roscoe rising. We also see Ragavan rising in terms of what was going on and what was happening there pre-Alchemy. And then we do see a nice pickup here for Ragavan popping up to 65%. Roscoe staying sideways while we do the first sliver starts to lose a little bit more. Atroxa picking up a little bit, and then Azika still just not pulling off super well there. So that concludes this week's breakdown against all the formats, standard or best of 1 and best of 3. As always, if you got a question, if you got a comment, do let me know, because we'd love to hear from you. What are you playing? What do you like? Do you think that this represents everything that's changing in some of those twists, as always, like Selesnya enchantments, like we talked about, and some of the other stuff there when you do look at Mythic. So with that, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. On top of that, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for all your support. As always, appreciate the likes and the subs as we grow such an amazing community here. On top of that, we got memberships available to everyone. If you like that, you can check those things out. A great way to support the channel. On top of that, lots of other great things down below with affiliates. If you need cards, those kinds of things as well, check it out. And thank you. With that, again, thank you as always. I hope you have a great week here in Magic the Gathering. We certainly will, and looking forward to bringing you more decks as always. Until next time, we'll see you again soon. Take care. Enjoy your day.